Hey guys, Garrett97 again. This time with a review of the 144 scale Rig Shokew from the Victory Gundam series. And it's a very orange mobile suit. And this guy is unfortunately quite literally molded entirely in orange. Very light orange. The only gray you see here are polycaps, and fortunately, we do get very nice clear purple for the beam shield, which is beautifully detailed for the stand and also for the beam sabers. Then, on the stickers, and unfortunately, they don't do a whole lot to make the kit any more visually pleasing. All the stickers we're getting are 2 stickers for the eyes, 2 for the chest here, 1 for the crotch, and then 1 with his name on it for the stand. So, straight out of the box, this kit isn't, well, the best thing. Though looking at it now, it's not as bad as I would expect an all-orange mobile suit to be, but it could still greatly benefit from painting. Or they could have given us a gray runner for the backpack, for the feet, and then of course for the weapons. And then going on to articulation, head goes up all the way until it pops out, down a little bit, rotates around kinda all the way if you're careful and that you don't pop it off. Then arms rotate around all the way down ball joints so they will wiggle around a little bit, go up about that far. Yeah, not really a lot of upwards movement going on there. The elbow not quite 90 degrees, rotate around, hands are on ball joints, will wiggle around and everything a ball joint does. The waist rotates around, not quite all the way. This is about as far as it goes, and then the backpack actually gets stuck on the, well, side skirt thing that's going on there. Also, one thing I gotta warn you about, unlike the normal Victory Gundam kits, where you have the internal skeleton body with, well, on the internal skeleton, there's also a peg that would normally connect it to the lower body. Here, however, because the Rig Shokew's body is slightly larger, we actually have a plastic peg and more plastic in there. So it's plastic rubbing against plastic, so be careful when you rotate the body. That might wear out very, very quickly. Then the legs go forward about that far, backwards about that far. So one of the few kits where the legs actually go further backwards than forwards. Of course, it is unfortunately due to the design of those, well, side skirts, I'm going to call them. Then you go out about that far. We'll turn around a little bit. Bend at the knee at one joint for 90 degrees, and then the legs are as usual on a double joint. We have a hinge at the top and then a ball joint at the bottom. So forwards nicely, backwards a bit, side to side, and rotate around somewhat. So coloration is definitely not the greatest. Articulation is also not the greatest. So the question now is, will accessories save this machine? Well, let's look at what's already on the kit here. We have these 2 beam fans. Unfortunately, these ones cannot be moved. Well, they cannot be held. You can move them around. They're on pegs. You can remove them. But we do get this, unfortunately molded in just orange plastic. But he can hold on to it. Another unfortunate thing is we only get 1 of those. So the good news is, very solid in the hand. Let's put this to the side and then have a look at his beam rifle here. I have to say it's a very nice looking beam rifle. Very cool design. Unfortunately, it's orange. So let's put that in there, and there we go. Then, as always with the Victory Gundams, we are also getting the beam shield. I've already said that this is a gorgeous design, as always with the Victory Gundams. Unfortunately, you can see that it's taken from another mobile suit, because the shield generator doesn't quite fit this here. It can be forgiven, but it's just unfortunate. Then you just have to remove the one that's on here. That wasn't supposed to happen. So remove this, slide this in there, and then just pop that back on there. And since it's on a peg, the shield can of course also rotate around. The one good thing is that they were smart enough to make it so that the shield is nicely cut where the shoulder is, because due to the quite limited shoulder articulation, the poses you can make with the shield are rather limited. Either like this on the side, or if you want to bring the shield to the front, that is when you can finally do some poses with the shield. But when you're gonna have the shield sideways, this is really the only thing you can do with it. Also, the other arm might look like that is something where you can put the shield, but this peg, well, this gap here is actually not fit to hold it. So you can only put it on the left arm. So the shield, well, in a sense it's good, in a sense it's also kind of disappointing because, you know, it's kind of a remold. But moving on with the other accessories, we're getting 2 of these very nice pistols. And one thing I love about this is they each come with a peg, which means that you can put them on the legs. There we go. And then you can also put them in the hands. So this is one of those few machines that comes with dual pistols. And coming to think of it, this might very well be the first mobile suit ever to feature these dual pistols, which is awesome. And those pistols also look really cool. They have this very futuristic feel to them, especially since they're orange. Then, still not all. I've shown it before, we also get, as with all the Victory Gundam models, 2 beam sabers, 1 straight normal one, and then 1 slightly curved to simulate slashing the sword. And that is a really cool feature. It's a shame that, well, we don't really see that anymore with modern mobiles. You know, having a sword that makes it look like it slashes. Some robot Damashis do that though. And we're still not done. I've already shown it. We get a stand with the Rig Shokew's name on it. And we simply plug that in his butt. There we go. And still not everything. We still have one more thing. The backdrop. And on it we have the Shaitarn, a few beams flying around. But oddly enough, we have no number in the bottom left corner, as we usually get. And like here is the Shaitarn's card, and you can see this one usually says something like Cento number 2. This one, not. So I can only assume that this is a standalone card, which would make sense because this is number 13, and they always came in groups of 4. So we have 1 to 4, 5 to 8, 9 to 12, and then I guess this one is unfortunately the odd one out. Then on the back here we have some information on the Rig Shokew. Fortunately, this is the least interesting backdrop we can get. Usually there are 3 different ones. One like this, another one that gives some more information about internal workings, and then one with stats. This one is just what I like to call pointing out the obvious. Hey, this is an antenna, these are the eyes, that's the thruster, that's the shield generator, that's a hand. Thanks. Really always wondered what that was. So, what you have to do is put it on there. And the final thing I have to say about these bases is, of course, you can link them together to form one giant diorama. Unfortunately, of course, here it doesn't really apply because, well, this is a standalone card and it doesn't really look like you could put a bunch of these together. That's actually kind of stupid. If they were going to make a standalone card, just have the Shaitarn and have like a very generic space background so you can have as many of those backgrounds as you want and an army of Shaitarns while you're at it. Let's put that in there. As always, the inevitable question is, do you want to buy this? And well, I'm a bit split on this machine, because when you just look at it, when you look at the colors, you know, it's very orange. That would immediately give this model kit a no. Color separation is pretty horrible. However, when you look at the plethora of accessories we're getting a beam rifle, 2 beam pistols, 2 beam sabers, a beam shield, a beam fan, 2 stored beam fans, a stand, a backdrop, and all that. Then this suddenly becomes a much better deal for 500 yen if you're willing to do just those small bits of touch-up painting. So that means that if you don't like to paint or you can't paint, then this might not be a great model kit for you, because then, well, you're just gonna end up with a very orange looking machine. However, if you can paint, or if you're willing to paint, and you just do those few touch-ups, you give him a gray beam rifle, the gray beam pistols, then this model kit, I think, is very much worth the money. Because, you know, only 500 yen and you're getting a lot of stuff to play around with. Double beam pistols, you know, that's not something we see every day, and it's always awesome. And this model kit is definitely no exception. It's rule. Mobile suits that come with double beam pistols are great. And on to size comparisons, because we can't forget the Victory Gundam units are somewhat smaller than usual. Here is next to the standard size Gym Custom, and as you can see, the Commander antenna makes it look somewhat bigger, but still quite small when compared to the regulars. Then putting him next to the disproportionately big modern Victory Gundam. This guy is supposed to be 15.9 meters, Victory Gundam 15.2 meters. We can once again see that the older kits are much more true to their size, because this guy nails the height. This one unfortunately doesn't. So let's put it next to an accurately proportioned Victory Gundam model, and you can see that the Rig Shokew is one of the bigger Victory Gundam units. So that's all for this review, and see you guys next time.